you want to take, because I know that you want to take the exam. So I'm going to introduce the exam. Actually, these 2 days for these 3 days for the FineBI and Fine Report, we cover some basic knowledge. Also, you can review the recordings later if you want to prepare for the exam. And now I will introduce how you can apply for the exam and what kind of questions uh, there will be and how you can prepare for the exam. So actually our exam, let me give you an explanation first. FCP certification. Okay. Let me just introduce it by the link. So here, this is the application link. You can save it later if you want to apply. You can through this link to apply. This is the application link to our exam. So let me introduce our exam a little bit. So our exam actually it is divided by the product itself. Because we have 3 products: Fine Report, Fine BI, and Fine Data Link. So we will have exam for these 3 products. And for each product, for example, for Fine Report, for each product, we have two level product exam. One is called FCA, one is called FCP. So FCA, its name is FineRun Certified Associate, and FCP is FineRun Certified Professional. So we can see it's from easy to difficult. So FCA is just an entry level, and FCP is a more difficult one. So, I recommend you, if you're not sure, you want to see what kind of questions are there, you can take the FCA first. But if you don't want to take too much time on the exam, you can directly to choose the FCP. There is no need to take the FCP before you take the FCA before you take the FCP. There is no need. But if you want, you can choose to take it all. So the FCP is the easy one, right? So in the FCP, there will be some questions like the single choice, the multi-choice, the true false question, that kind of question. So in the FCA, we don't actually require you to develop a dashboard thing. That kind of thing, we don't require you to do it in the FCA. But in the FCP, no matter it's the Fine Report or Fine BI, in the FCP, we require you to develop a dashboard based on our question requirement. So exactly what kind of questions will there be in the Fine Report and in the Fine BI? We have a introduction, a question content introduction of the Fine Report and Fine BI. I recommend you can favor them, and you can prepare for the exam based on the checklist. Let me find you this. So let me introduce the Fine Report first. This is the Fine Report. So for the Fine Report, you can see this is the checklist. For FCP Fine Report, we have 5 questions. One is the report design, and then is the parameter application, and then is the dashboard design, and then is the data entry, and then is the JavaScript. So there are 5 question type, and under each question type, you will encounter 1 to 2 questions. For example, for the report design, you are required to design the report based on the question content, based on the question requirement. For the parameter application, there will be something like the hyperlink to control the chart linkage, the components linkage, or the dynamic parameter, that kind of parameter applications here. And for the dashboard design, you will have to design the dashboard. The dashboard will contain many charts or tables, some KPI charts, column charts, line charts, and you need to set the style for that chart. So that is the dashboard design. So for these three parts, we already covered it in the 3 days training, right? But for this one, data entry and JavaScript, actually we don't tell you more details about this data entry and JavaScript. But don't worry, for these two, you can always find our guide in our question content. So in our question content, we will give you the corresponding help documentation to tell you how you can achieve the corresponding function. So you can always follow that one to finish your answers. And here, the JavaScript. What is JavaScript? Actually, it's here, for example, in the FVS dashboard, you can see in the click event, we can also add the JavaScript. So that's where you can write this JavaScript. And what are the JavaScript that I can write for the general report? For the general report, you can write it in the hyperlink. There will be JavaScript. So that's where you should write the JavaScript. But exactly what kind of JavaScript should we write to achieve the corresponding function? You will find that in our question content. We will give you the corresponding help documentation to tell you which kind of JavaScript you should use. And you might need to modify it a little bit to understand it, and then to modify it to achieve the similar effect. So that is the content of the FCP fine report. And these three, report design, parameter application, dashboard design, these three accounts for the most important part in the FCP fine report. These two might be a little data entry and JavaScript. So that's also why I'm introducing mostly about these three parts: report design, parameter, and dashboard thing. Okay. So that's the content for the fine report. So I wonder if you have any questions about this content of this fine report FCP exam. You can refer to this checklist to prepare for the exam firstly. Maybe if you think you're not familiar with data entry, you can search in our help documentation a little bit to review it, to explore it beforehand, and then to take the test. Okay, so I wonder if you have any questions regarding this one, the FCP content questions.
For the report designed section, do we have a limit time to make the report or the dashboard in this?
Oh, okay. So the FCP exam, fine report and fine BI will give you 2 days, 2 days for all of the questions. So after you are ready, you submit the ready to take the exam button, then the 2-day countdown will start, and we will give you 2 days. And within 2 days, you must finish these answers. If not, the system will automatically submit your answers. So the time will be 2 days, because we consider that it might be that in the day you might have to work, so you might only have time to finish it at night. So we give it 2 days. Okay, so if you have no question about the FCP content, we'll go to the FCP Fine BI. Also, the Fine BI, we also have 2 days for you to finish all the questions. And this is the Fine BI. Okay, just send it. This is the Fine BI. And let's check about the Find BI content, the question type. So there will be 4 types: data processing, subject model, component calculation, and visualization. For example, for the data processing. For the data processing, for this kind of questions, you are only allowed to use the data editing. Remember, in the Find BI, we introduced the data editing part. You only allowed to use that part to process your data and then create some tables or charts according to the question requirement. That is the data processing. Use the data editing to process data. And the next is the subject model. So for this one, you are required to use multiple tables and you are required to create associations between that multiple tables. So for that part, you are going to show us the screenshot, how you create the associations. And then after that, you need to create some tables or charts based on the question requirement. That's the subject model. And the component calculation. So for this part, you are not allowed to use the data editing. Remember, in the first question type, you are only allowed to use data editing. But for the component calculation, you are not allowed to use the data editing. So for this part, you are only allowed to use the component calculation to add calculation field, to add some extra fields you need to create your tables or charts. So after adding some fields, you can create some tables or charts according to the question content. So for data processing, subject model, component calculation, they are all creating some tables or charts, but not putting it together in one dashboard, right? They are only creating some separate tables or charts according to the question requirement. So the last question type is the visualization. That is to create a dashboard. So here, we have no restrictions to whether you should use data editing or component calculation. We have no restrictions for that. But you need to create your tables and charts based on according to the requirements. And then to put your tables and charts into the dashboards. And for different dashboards, maybe there will be 2 dashboards or 3 dashboards. For the 2 dashboards, maybe you will also need to add some interactions. For example, linkage. I want to click this dashboard and then jump to another dashboard, that kind of jump. This is called interaction. So lastly, you should add some interaction. So that is the scope of this question of FCP Find BI. Also, when you are submitting the answers for the Find BI, you need to pay attention to, you need to organize your steps and provide your screenshot of your each step to organize it in a doc file. Because the Find BI dashboard is not a file, right? You cannot just upload your file. So to let us know how you finish this test, the steps of your question, you need to organize the steps and provide me your screenshots of your every step to organize it in a doc file and upload the doc file into your answer area. So I can know in each step what you do in each step. Okay, that's the Find BI. That's how you submit answers for the Find BI FCP exam. But for the Find report, because our Find report is a file right here. Every template is a file. You can find your file in your local disk. For example, this file, how can I find it? Open this folder, and then you can directly upload this file to your answer area so that I can know, I can preview directly in my designer to preview the effect that's what your template has done. Okay, that's how we submit answers for Find report and for Find BI. Okay, so for this part, if you have any questions.
In this case, we are going to use the FindBI free version, but is there a time limit to use it? For example, I don't know if I log in like 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, I am still going to be able to access to the FindBI tool or to the FundRun or to the fund report application?
You mean you mean you have done your work in FindBI and Find Report, and then maybe in 2 weeks you enter FindBI and Find Report again, if you can see your work still there?
Yeah, kind of that. Yeah.
That's okay. And because you have downloaded FindBI and Find Report, right? And if you have done some work into your FindBI and Find Report and FindBI, if you have not delete the Find Report or FindBI from your computer, your work will be saved there in your local Find Report or FindBI. That will be saved. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if you have no questions about the content, you can, later I will also send this to our group chat. So now this is the content, the first part, the content. So now how to apply for the exam. So this is the application link. Later, when you are ready, you can click this link to apply. So here you need to specify your name, your business email. And business email is very important because when I receive your application, I will send an email to your business email. So this email, you must make sure this is correct because I will send some guide email, some registration email to your email box, okay? And here your company name and select the subject. For example, I'm going to take the Find Report, FCP, and I choose a time. You can choose a time. You have a registration coupon. So you can see for the FCA, it's a free exam. You can just submit. But for the FCP, actually we charge $399 to our client. But for our partners, we offer some free coupons to you. So here, later, when you're ready, you can ask me for the coupon. I will give you the coupons you can use. One coupon you can only use for one user and one exam. So click yes and enter your coupon and then submit. That is okay. And then I will receive your applications so that I will send an email box to you here, to this business email. I will send an email to your email box to help you to register to our exam platform. The exam platform is where you are going to take the exam. So the exam platform is actually the Judo. You can see this is this application link. We also do it with the Judo software. It's also another product of our company. Okay, let me show you. So you can see this is the platform. So you need to register to this platform first. I will send a guide email to your business email box to let you know how you can register to this platform. And after that, you can log in. So you can log in with your accounts. Log in, and then you can find your test. You can find your exam under Technical Center. And here, if you apply for Find Report, you can find Find Report. If you applied for FindBI, you can find FindBI. For example, Find Report, you will find this FCPFR. So you will see this one. So after your application, because you have not started the exam yet, right? So 2 days countdown will not start. So when will the time start? When will the exam time start? That's when you find this one, find the corresponding FCP, FR, or BI, and here, are you ready to start the exam? If you click yes, and then submit, then the 2-day countdown will start. So that's the exam time will start. And then when you start, you can always find your exam here in your task here. In your task, find your exam. Because sometimes maybe you have do this exam for like 1 hour and you haven't finished it and you have some other things to do. So at that time you can save your answers, and then later when you go back again, where can you find your exam? You can find it in your tasks and do it, continue to finish your answers. So that's the workflow of how you can apply, and then receive the email to register to the platform and to find it in the corresponding directory, Find Report or Find BI, and then click submit to start the exam. And then if you just want to save your answers, save, and then go to find it in my task, find it, click it to do it again, to continue do it, and then to submit all your answers. So that is the total workflow of how you can apply for the exam. Okay, so for the application part, do you have any questions? Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, so that's how we can apply for the exam. Okay, so I think that's all for our 3-day trainings. We covered the Find BI, the Find Report, and the exam. So lastly, I wonder if there is any other questions you want to ask now. Of course, because maybe some of you guys don't have time to follow the training process all along. So maybe you can review the recording later. I will send the recording later to the group chat. And later, when you are reviewing the recording, if you have any questions regarding the exam, regarding the training part, you can also ask me in the group. Okay. Okay, so for now, do you have any questions?
Regarding to the certification part, I don't have any question, but I wanted to know if we can request after the certification another capacitation meeting, for example, to see some tools that I know that exist in Find Report and Find BI, for example. Psycho told us that there was a function where we can add data directly into a dashboard or a report. So the user can, I don't know, write a new column or a new
do you mean that in Find Report or Find BI, how we can add data? You mean that part, the data part?
Not like that. It's more like in the final report or the dashboard that is going to be the user. How can the user, I don't know if for example, there's a dashboard or board for new customer, and the user want to add a new one. I remember that.
Oh, you mean when the user preview your reports, they can add new records in your report
that part.
and then submit the data back to our database.
Yeah.
We have that. Actually, that is called data entry. Data entry. So here, maybe I can give you an example here. For example, I want to create from this one. Okay, let me copy this one. And to make it, here you can see this is a report design. The ID, region, some field, right? The design, you can just do the design as we introduced before. Okay, so this is how we preview it. But now I want the user to have some ability. When I preview the dashboard, I want to add a record here. Maybe, and then submit. How can I do that? This is called data entry. So data entry, to achieve the function of data entry, we have something to do. One is to add the data entry widget. For example, here, if I want to add a record here, I need to add a widget here, right? Because, for example, the region, I want the user to select from the drop-down box to select the region. So here, I'm going to change the region to a drop-down box here. How can I add this widget? This widget is called data entry widget. It's different from the widgets here. This is also the widget, but it's filter widget. That is different. Here we're talking about the data entry widget. So how do you add that? Here, click the cell, and on the right, there will be 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth widget setting, you can select a widget. If you want the user just input some text, you can select text. If you want the user to select from a drop-down box, you can select the drop-down box, And here also to configure the data dictionary for it. For example, now I just customize some values. This is region 1. This is the region 2, maybe. I just give it a random value, 2 values. Okay. So now when I preview, you can see when I preview, I can get this one, right? I can select. So that's the widget function. But I cannot add a record. How can I add a record? Here, you can add a record. For example, I move my mouse here and add a record. So I can add a record here. But you see, because now I have just changed my region to some data entry widget, right? So when I move my mouse here, when I add a record, I can only a record here under this one. Add a record here. But here, actually what I want is that add record from the ID and the region and sales target, right? So here, I'm also going to make this ID to be editable. I can edit it. So you also need to add a widget to that. Maybe a text widget. A text widget where user can input text. So similarly, for the sales target and status, you can also give it some widget. For example, sales target, also it's actually a number, right? So maybe I can give it a number widget. Okay, so these 3 widgets I have added, and you can see the icon here. This is the widget icon. And save. And with my preview, I'm actually not using the preview method that we were using when we introducing the file report. We're using this kind of method here. We're using this data entry preview. So let's see the difference between pagination and data entry. Earlier, when we are previewing, actually we are all using this type, pagination preview. It's just a preview the reports by some paginations. So pagination preview, this is pagination preview. And you can view the URL link. This is the preview link, report, and this is the path, right? And you can see this is pagination preview. So even if I add widget, I cannot edit it, right? When you click, you cannot edit it. This is pagination. When you want to edit, you need to use the data entry. So I choose data entry. So I can edit it, for example, here, and to change it to region 1, also to change it to here, right? So that is data entry preview. You need to use the data entry preview. If you observe the link, the preview link, you will find that the data entry It's just that it will have this behind this link. It will have this OP equals to right. So OP equals to right. You can also add this behind this original URL to get the data entry preview. Here, I also got this data entry preview because you can see I can change that, right? So that is the data entry. So to make this function, you need the user to submit the data. One step is to add the widget to make the user can input something to your page. And the second step is to use the data entry preview. Only in that preview mode, the user can use the widget function to input. And the third step is to set the submit attribute. Because now, for example, now I have changed to the ID 10 to region 1, right? But you see, when you preview your data, there is the only ID, the 9 and the region 2, right? So how can I modify the data? I need to submit the data back to my database, right? So that comes to the third step, which is to submit the data back to our database. So you can click this submit to submit. But what kind of execution should I do? For example, if now I click, you can see here, it will be in the hint. Data entry attribute not set. So we need to set that attribute to let the system know when you click submit, this region 1, this data should be submitted to which field of which table, and this value should be submitted to which table, which field. You should set that. So that is the third step, to set the data entry attribute. Where to set? Go to find template data entry attribute, and here is the submit. We're going to use this one, built-in SQL. And you can choose which table you want to put your data to. Which table? Now I'm using the table sales region from FR demo, right? So I'm going to submit back to that one. I'm going to select FR demo. This is the sales region. Sales region. Okay. And these are the configurations that you want to put the value to which field. So I can add field. Or I can smart add. Smart add, these are all the fields in your reports. I want to add ID, region, status, and sales, right? Okay. And this is the column from the table, from this table. And what values? Smart add cell. What values? For the ID, I need to add B3. And next, for the region, C3. Status, E3. Sales is the D3, okay? So we add these values to this column. And another question is that when I submit the data, how the system will know that I will insert all these values again to my table, or just update my data, or delete my data? How can the system judge? So here we need to select a key for it. So here I'm selecting the ID. That means how can I will judge is adding, is editing, or is inserting, is modifying, or is deleting? How can I judge that? I can judge from my ID. So currently, let me click OK first, preview the data. Currently, in our data, we have the ID, which is 9, right? And 2 to 9. But now, in this page, I have changed the 9 to 10, right? So here, let me submit, let me refresh it again. And then change it to maybe 10. And then change it to region 1, maybe. If I submit, let me see what will happen. Not set. I don't save. Okay, I'm not saving. Save and then refresh. I will change it to 10, 9 to 10, and then region 1. If I submit, okay, success. Let's preview our data again. Preview. You can see now. You can see what executions it do. Now it still have the 2 to 9, but it helped me inserting a record which is 10. Why? Because now from this page we have 2, 3, 4, 2 to 8 and 10. For 2 and 8, we have no modifications, right? We have no modification based on the ID. So no modifications for 2 to 10. And for the 9, because in this page, we don't have the record of the ID 9. So we don't do anything to the 9. But for this one, for the 10, because we have a new ID here, that is 10. Earlier, we don't have this 10, right? So here we are execute the inserting. So we insert this 10 to our record. So we have a new record, which is 10. Okay, so that is why we set the ID. Perhaps we can take another test. Maybe here for this two, this is an existing ID and I want to change its area. I change its region to region 1. Submit. So now the system will judge that 2. Here you can see I have an execution of modification because the ID 2 is an existing ID. It will judge by the key ID. So it's an existing ID, so I will execute the modification to modify the region to region 1. Instead of just inserting a new ID 2 here, is executing the modification. So that's the function of the key we set here. It will judge by the ID, Okay. So that's the workflow when if you want to achieve the data entry. First step, design your report, right? Design your report. Second step, add some widget, text widget, number widget, etc. to let the user can input something based on some options or just input the text or some numbers or even some email box. Here you can select or even some email box. This is the second step. And when preview, use this one, use this data entry preview to preview. And then go to set this data entry attribute. You need to set this one so that the user submits. The system will know how to add this data. What this value will be added to which table, which cell, and this value will be added to which table, which cell. Okay, so that's the workflow. Okay, so do we have any questions regarding this?
Thank you. Just a quick one. And is if we are working like in server versions or where we can't set clients where we can't manage the users. To use this tool, can we grant privilege just to certain users and to others no?
Oh, you mean you want to send this URL for other users to preview?
No, and it's more a question about how it works. For example, if there's a dashboard in Productive, for example, that I don't know, there are like 10 users that use this dashboard. But if we only want to one user to have the privilege to add new data, is it possible to only grant privilege to?
I see. You mean to have the permission control, right?
Yeah, like permission control.
So to give the URL link to other users, and only one user can have the permission to add record here, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, okay, I know that. Yeah, we can have a permission control here. Let me find that one. Where is the permission control? Here. permission edit, we can enter permission edit. And here, for example, for user, but here, we can only assign the permission based on the user based on the role. For example, for this role, I only want this role to have the edit of this C3. So you can see here, we can see here, widget available here. By default, widget is available. Widget available, it means that you can edit its value. But if you don't want other users to see this widget, you can hide it here, just hide it. So now the widget is not available. If the user logged in and it is the development, for example, this role, if it's a technical support role, he cannot edit value through in this region column. So it's the permission control. You can control it by here to set it here, widget available, or widget available. Yeah, that is the permission control. You can control it here. That is here. Template. Let me save it and exit. Okay. Okay. Here, template and permission edit. You can enter it here. Permission edit. Okay. Yeah, you have any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so if you have no other questions regarding the product itself or the certification, I think that's all for our training of these 3 days. Yeah, thank you very much for your participation, because I know it's at night at your time, right? So thank you for your participation. Okay, thank you, and that's all for the training. Maybe it's time to say goodbye, and later you have questions about the training, about the product itself, you can ask me in the group. Okay. Okay.
Thank you a lot.
Yeah,
See you.
thank you. See you. Bye bye.